Have you ever experienced this? You opened your heart to someone who seemed genuinely kind, only to find yourself hurt and distant later on. An experience where your unconditional kindness became poison that came back to harm you. Have you ever extended kindness even to people who don't deserve it, only to end up exhausted and alone? There are people in this world who, no matter how much you give or how well you treat them, will never appreciate it. Extending unconditional kindness to such individuals isn't a virtue, it can actually ruin your life. The great philosopher Schopenhauer warned us, those who try to be kind to everyone end up harming themselves. His warning contains crucial wisdom about protecting yourself and building healthy relationships in the complex web of human interactions we navigate daily. Today, we'll deeply explore Schopenhauer's 3 reasons why you shouldn't be kind to people who don't deserve it, and the traps that come with misplaced generosity. Through this discussion, let's discover together how to protect your precious time and emotions. First, kindness without boundaries ultimately turns you into a disposable resource. We commonly view being kind to others as virtuous behavior, and we feel fulfilled when helping someone. However, if this kindness lacks boundaries, it can gradually consume you and damage your relationships. While caring for and helping others isn't inherently wrong, when that kindness becomes excessive, people begin to take your goodwill for granted. Someone who initially showed gratitude will, after continuous giving, start to perceive it as their right. Just as a child takes a parent's unconditional love for granted, they'll demand your endless concessions and sacrifices indefinitely. Let me give you an example. A coworker asks you to help with their work because something urgent came up. You gladly assist out of kindness. But this doesn't happen just once or twice, it keeps repeating. Eventually, even though it's their own work, that colleague starts expecting, you can help me again, right? You're so good at this. You're already exhausted from too much work, but because of the relationship you've built, it's not easy to refuse. In the end, you're handling not only your own work, but your colleagues as well, suffering from overwork. And your kindness becomes poison that enables their irresponsibility. In such relationships, you remain only as the person who always helps, who always yields. Your efforts become expected, and your refusal becomes selfishness. Ultimately, you're not respected in that relationship. You're treated like a disposable tool. Schopenhauer understood one fundamental aspect of human nature's selfishness. He saw that unconditional kindness actually stimulates the other person's selfishness, ultimately resulting in harm to yourself. Therefore, indiscriminate kindness depletes your energy, diminishes your value, and ultimately makes you unhappy. You need to carefully decide where to invest your time and energy. Your kindness should be saved and reserved for truly worthy places. This boundary setting is especially crucial in professional life. Work-related cooperation and personal favors must be clearly distinguished. Being recognized for your competence and sacrificing your time are completely different matters. If you constantly take on others' work, your supervisor might not see you as a capable employee, but simply as someone who does whatever they're told. This can negatively impact your long-term career development. Eventually, you'll suffer from excessive work stress and may experience burnout. You must prevent situations where your kindness invades your life and erodes your happiness. Don't carelessly waste your precious time and energy. Taking care of and protecting yourself is actually the greatest kindness you can extend to others. Second, you must be wary of people who exploit your kindness for their own gain. Schopenhauer identified one of the most dangerous types in human relationships: people who exploit your kindness for their own benefit. These individuals appear friendly toward you on the surface, but inwardly calculate only their own gains. They take your kindness for granted and even demand more, attempting to manipulate you. However, the moment you act against their interests, or they decide you're no longer useful to them, their attitude changes dramatically. Have you ever met someone like this? Someone incredibly sweet and affectionate when you're giving them something, but who turns cold the instant you refuse a request or they think you're no longer useful. For instance, someone might act helpless without your assistance, but once they achieve their goals with your help, they ignore you. Another example, someone desperately begs to borrow money when they're in trouble, then, when it's time to repay, makes endless excuses to delay or even treats you like you're bothering them. They cleverly exploit your goodwill and compassion to achieve their purposes, but they have no genuine interest in the relationship itself. Schopenhauer believed that human nature is fundamentally selfish, and that all behavioral motivations ultimately stem from one's own desires and interests. From this perspective, people who don't genuinely accept your kindness, but use it as a stepping stone to maximize their own benefits, fundamentally don't respect you. They don't treat you as an equal person, but merely as a means to bring them benefits. Such relationships can never be sustainably healthy and will ultimately leave you deeply hurt and feeling betrayed. Therefore, we must discern true intentions, not just through people's words or appearances, but through their actions. If someone's attitude differs drastically between when you're giving and when you're not, or if they constantly demand from you while never giving themselves, you should be cautious. Your kindness should only be given to people who recognize your value. To protect yourself, you need the wisdom to maintain appropriate distance from such people and to draw firm boundaries. These individuals often use psychological manipulation techniques, like gaslighting. They stimulate your guilt or blame you to get their demands met. They might shake your emotions with phrases like, "Who else would help me but you?" Or, "I didn't know you could be so cold." In such situations, you must think more rationally and try not to be swayed by your emotions. Don't fall for their emotional appeals and waste your time and resources. True relationships are built on mutual respect and trust. Your kindness shouldn't become merely a tool for someone's gain. You need the courage to extend kindness only to those who appreciate your value and to firmly say no to those who take your goodwill for granted. That's ultimately how you protect your mental health and enrich your life. Third, you should end relationships with people who repeatedly hurt you without apology or effort to change. Conflict inevitably occurs in human relationships. Everyone makes mistakes, and sometimes we unintentionally hurt others. What matters is how we behave afterward. If someone truly cares about and respects you when their mistake hurts you, they'll sincerely apologize and make efforts to improve the relationship. However, there are people in this world who repeatedly hurt you without feeling any guilt, or who even rationalize their behavior and blame you instead. These people don't consider your feelings at all and cannot empathize with your pain. They avoid their wrongdoing with statements like, "You're too sensitive," "This is just who I am, you should understand," or, "If there's a problem with what I did, it's your fault," continuously inflicting even greater wounds on you. Let me give you an example. What if you had a friend who repeatedly cancels your important plans or casually shares your personal secrets with others, saying, "It's not a big deal, why do you care so much?" At first, you might try to understand that these things happen, but as they repeat, you'll experience serious psychological suffering in that relationship. You become the one who must always understand and yield, and your feelings are constantly ignored. Such relationships erode your self-esteem and ultimately make you unhappy. Schopenhauer deeply explored human suffering and desire in his philosophy. He believed that avoiding pain and pursuing happiness is human instinct, and implicitly suggests that relationships causing unnecessary pain should be decisively ended. Continuing a relationship with someone who repeatedly hurts you is an act of inflicting unnecessary pain on yourself. You might cling to that relationship while constantly being hurt, rationalizing it with thoughts like, "They're still a good person," or "I need to be more understanding." But think about it coldly. What positive influence does that person have on you? Are they bringing genuine joy and peace to your life? If not, that relationship is like a toxin that needs to be removed from your life. You need the courage to decisively cut off the relationship to protect yourself. You are precious and your emotions deserve respect. These types of people often act as if they're the only victims, constantly seeking others' sympathy. Rather than admitting their faults, they manipulate situations or blame others to avoid their responsibilities. When you tell them they've hurt you, they'll try to invalidate your feelings with phrases like, "When did I do that?" or "Aren't you overreacting?" Such behavior makes you more confused and eventually makes you doubt whether you yourself are in the wrong. To protect your mental health, leaving such relationships is the only solution. If a relationship doesn't change, no matter how much you try, clinging to it ultimately destroys yourself. Sometimes disconnection can be the best healing. Make choices that protect your heart and prioritize your happiness. That's the path to making your life healthier and more peaceful. Here's wisdom for healthy relationships. Throughout our lives, we form relationships with countless people. We can't always be peaceful and happy in all these relationships, but we do need the wisdom to at least reduce unnecessary pain and protect ourselves. Schopenhauer's warning encourages us to practice wise kindness rather than unconditional kindness. You should carefully decide where to use your energy and practice giving only to people who deserve your kindness. For this, setting clear boundaries is most important of all. An attitude of being unable to refuse and always accommodating others' demands can send the wrong signal that you can be exploited. You need the courage to send a firm message. I can do this much, but beyond that is difficult. These boundaries must be created by yourself, and they become the fence that protects you. Also, you should develop the habit of judging not just by people's words, but by their actions. Many people say all kinds of nice things while their actual actions disappoint or hurt you. A person's sincerity is revealed through actions, not words. Finally, focus on relationships with people who truly respect and cherish you. Relationships that drain your energy and cause unnecessary pain should be boldly let go. There are far more people in the world who recognize your worth and genuinely appreciate your kindness. Protecting yourself while building healthy relationships is true life wisdom. The center of your life should always be yourself. It's important to live according to your values and beliefs without being swayed by others' gazes or evaluations. You are precious and your happiness should be prioritized above all else. This isn't selfishness, it's an expression of healthy self-love. When you first love and respect yourself, only then can you build healthy and meaningful relationships with others. Like the hedgehog's dilemma, it's important to maintain an appropriate distance, not so close that you get hurt, not so far that you're lonely. Invest your time and energy in people who positively influence your life and boldly move away from relationships that make you suffer. You deserve better treatment. This entire process won't be easy. You might be afraid to cut off relationships or feel anxious about being alone. But remember, you're not alone. People who truly care about you will always be by your side. Your courageous decisions will ultimately lead your life to greater freedom and happiness. Trust yourself and follow your intuition. You already have all the answers within you. In conclusion, while kindness is an important virtue in our society, blind kindness can actually make you suffer and become unhappy. Through Schopenhauer's wisdom, we've clearly understood why we shouldn't be kind even to people who don't deserve it. Kindness without boundaries turns you into a disposable resource. People who exploit your kindness for gain hurt you, and people who repeatedly cause you pain ultimately poison your life. Schopenhauer said, "No one can live my life for me." Like these words, your life belongs only to you, and you have the responsibility to protect yourself and make yourself happy. From now on, use your precious heart and energy wisely and invest in relationships with people who truly respect and cherish you. I hope today's message helps you reflect on your relationships and becomes a small piece of wisdom toward a healthier, happier life. Your choices will transform your life. I support you in making the best choices for yourself.